Hey, we're back. Chad's getting him a sip.
I was just thinking though, man, give her the clap. I don't know about that.
Yeah. That's bad
I see enough of that.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'd say you do.
Yes. Welcome. Hey, cheers.
Hi.
Yeah.
Do you have water? You have something. I know you brought something.
I do. Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
Cheers.
Of course.
I'm not drinking a Busch Light tonight, so
So
way too many of those this weekend.
yeah, Chad had a rough weekend.
Oh my God, got roughed up bad.
It happens.
Yeah, it's Byler's fault. I got tranquilized.
I got tranquilized by Byler. It happens. So for those that don't know you, you are the Gout Whisperer.
I guess.
Yes,
That's the new.
That's the new thing.
Yes.
We're gonna
If you're
call
looking for somebody to cure the gout,
yes.
Here I am.
Yes,
Right
so
here she is.
this is nurse. You were a referral from Paisley Speakman, Paisley Cunningham. Now, yes, so
Yeah.
we can officially call her that. And then just so happened, I didn't know who you were, and I was like, no, wait a minute, I do know who that is. I think that she just got referred to us by Paisley Speakman, and she was my gout doctor here last week.
yeah.
A nurse practitioner. What is your official title?
Nurse practitioner.
So that's what NPN means. Nurse practitioner.
Yeah, NP.
NP.
Yep.
Okay.
Nurse
What does the
practitioner.
N? What does the extra N mean if they have an NPN? What's that? You ever seen that? I feel like I've seen an NP.
I've seen like a DNP is like a doctor of nurse practitioner, but
Okay.
normally it's just like NP.
Okay. So how long have you been a NP?
I've been an NP since 2020, and I've been just a nurse altogether for almost 10 years.
Okay. So how you like the nurse practitioner style compared to being a nurse?
The responsibility and the stress is different. It's still high stress, but not like it was on the floor.
Right.
Give me an example.
Like, on the floor, you've got 5 or 6 patients, and one of them could be swirling the drain, and you got to call all these people.
Swirling the drain as in dying.
Yep. The big one. Yeah.
Preparing to give up the ghost.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to move.
Yeah. But, now in this role, we are in urgent care, but I have people come in that are having a heart attack, and that's my responsibility. I'm the one that people call, as opposed to like I was calling other people to take care of it. So it's a lot, and in urgent care we're limited. I can do an EKG, but we don't do labs, which is like mainstay to tell if you're having like a true heart attack. So, and then it's kind of like we have to call squad. By the time they get from point A to point B, time is heart. So it's just, it's.
And I'm sure you have a protocol.
Yeah. I mean, there's guidelines that we follow. But after you've reached those guidelines, it's just like a waiting game.
Yeah.
So you started this in 2020. Now that's a great year to start. I mean, right in the middle of the pandemic. Yeah.
We were seeing between 160, 170 patients a day in a 12-hour period at the urgent care.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I mean, in an 8-hour period?
12.
12.
Yep.
So that's what, 8 an hour? One every
too many.
11 minutes?
We they did start giving us 2 providers. Initially it was, just one, and then we started surging, and I mean, I was like going outside swabbing people in their cars, and it was hectic. And protocol, you have to filter the rooms for 10 minutes. So when you have that many people lined
like
up,
air filter?
Yep. Because
that's what you was selling.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah, Chad sells those air filters.
Oh yeah.
Not anymore. My old company.
Okay.
And we kind of just picked that product up when the pandemic started. It was
You had to have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they'd have to run for 10 minutes because the next person that may come in that was sick, they may not have had COVID, and then that
change the
exposes
air.
them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a lot.
How scary was it during COVID as a nurse?
It was scary because I was not only in urgent care, but I still picked up on the floor as a floor nurse because it was so severe, the condition that everybody and everything was in. And then, we ran out of PPE, which is personal protective equipment, the gown, the goggles, gloves, just
whenever you
things.
came home. So do you guys have kids?
Jesse has 2 kids. Yeah. Yeah. And they're with us about 50% of the time.
So like, I remember thinking, or you'd see these things where like these nurses would have to come home and basically delouse, I would call it, I guess.
Yeah,
take everything off.
Isn't that what they called it? Delouse?
Strip down at the door?
Just decontaminate.
Decontaminate. Yeah. And did you leave like that stuff at the hospital?
No, because we wore our own scrubs. So like the hospital didn't provide us with scrubs. So I would have to wear them home. Usually I would change, like if I picked up on the floor, I would change.
But how could you keep that? Like
you just put it in a bag and like tie it and flip
the
it
virus. Like how could you keep the virus from like getting on your stuff?
You can't. It's impossible.
Did you bring it home ever? Did you guys?
I had it one time and I was fine really. Like I had it when it initially came. I worked out. I mean, I quarantined, but I worked out every day at home still. Jesse never got tested, but I mean, we slept in the same bed. So,
sure,
he
likely had it.
Yeah. He started feeling kind of under the weather. So he didn't get tested.
Ginger.
Yeah.
We're tough.
Yeah. He's so tough.
Different immune system.
Yeah.
Listen, he cut his thumb off one time, didn't ask for any pain medicine. And my friend was like a nurse in the ER at the time. And I was like, if you don't give him some Ativan, we're going to have to go.
Yeah.
Because he was just like, he didn't phase him. Yeah. Didn't phase him. But
that would have been a wild time to be on the floor. It would have been a wild time just to be tied in with the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
It was terrible.
As that died down, because I mean, you were fully masked still. I would say for the remainder of your career, you will be fully masked.
Yeah. So Adina has lifted, and most hospitals have lifted the mask mandate. If you have like a viral upper respiratory infection or something like that, they do
encourage.
They encourage it. They don't require it, but to me, I see sick patients all day. So, and again, these people come in because COVID is now like sinus stuff.
Right.
It's not as much respiratory as it used to be.
Yeah.
So, like someone's like, oh, I think I have a sinus infection. I'm like, you probably got the cove.
I heard somebody told me the other day.
Well, I mean, it's probably better for you to wear a mask anyway, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what, I mean, not only COVID, but people are coming in there sick.
Yeah. And they don't know. They don't know what they've been exposed to. I'm like, have you been around anybody that's sick? And they're like, well, I don't think so. But it's like, what? You went to Walmart and Kroger, so probably,
right.
And you remember like at the beginning of that, whenever they were like, okay, they were breaking it down like on touches, like if it touched.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
20 feet, 10 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. I remember I had to bar then, man. We had that social distancing, the 6 feet lines and stuff. I mean, it was just a
plastic barriers up everywhere.
Oh, you still see those. You still see
the screen, like
screens, yeah. Which I don't, I don't mind the glass ones, but like you see people now, they're like stepping to the side. They always did.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that, the only bad part about your job would be dealing with Stosh.
Well, she's pretty rough.
Oh, I mean, Stosh is horrendous.
I know. She makes my day. I love that
does
girl.
she really? Don't
when I
float
see her,
ego.
I know. When I see her walk in the door, I'm like, yes.
Did you tell her you're coming on here tonight?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
actually.
Well, you should.
It'll be a surprise for her. She'll like it.
Yeah, me and Stosh, we give each other a hard time.
Oh, I love her. I didn't really know her until, I knew who she was, but until we started in urgent care, because she was at Waverly initially. Yeah. And so I kind of floated there a little bit, and then I just fell in love with her. You
were I don't want to say last ditch effort, but like I had been, I told you I'd been doctoring for this gout for a long time.
Yeah. Couple months, right?
Yeah, like 8 weeks. I'd had it really like continuously for 8 weeks with shots, with medications, which is kind of unnormal, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. Typically, it's like a one and done. We can fix it.
Yeah, and boy, you kicked that out of me quick. I appreciate that. I mean, it was a little slower coming out, but now I can tell it's leaving.
Yeah.
You know.
Once that meloxicam gets built up in your system. And do we do oral steroids too?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So, I'm glad. I was thinking about it the other day.
Yeah, and shots. We did shots, a steroid shot. Yep. It was that meloxicam. Have you ever taken that?
I don't think so. What would I have taken it for?
Inflammation.
Yeah.
No, the one I always remember, and this goes back to like football injuries and stuff, was like naproxen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which that was more like...
Or naproxen.
I don't know what it was called.
They're
naproxen.
Anti-inflammatory,
yeah.
Typically, we do use naproxen for gout flares, but meloxicam it's just better. I just think it's better.
So how much, like, as a nurse practitioner, do you know about these drugs? Like the drugs that are, because it seems like a nurse practitioner, they can pretty well prescribe just about anything.
We can, yeah. I do have like, I mean, we have.
How do you learn, I guess?
Yeah. So we have a lot of databases that we can just literally type the name of the medication in, and it gives us adult dosing, pediatric dosing, contraindications, if you have kidney failure, if you're breastfeeding or pregnant, anything like that. So normally I double check, even after 3 years, you never want to do harm to a patient. So normally I check everything before I prescribe it.
Is there a checklist?
There's an order, like for gout, you would do NSAIDs, steroids, just stuff like that, and then kind of go down the tree.
So how are you learning about like new stuff? Like, how do they teach you about that, or does it just pop up? Do you just type in gout and see what comes up?
Yeah, you can type in gout into the database. Yeah, I have really amazing collaborating physicians, and like even if they're working or not, I can call them and I can send them a picture of something. I do that a lot too, because it's hard to learn when you're by yourself, because if you don't have anyone that's been like, I've seen that before, then you're just kind of up to yourself. You can like Google and I mean it does become difficult, but I just call my collaborators a lot and just bounce ideas off of them. And my main collaborator, he basically, when I started, he was like, the thing with urgent care is, can they go home and be okay? Or do they need to go to the ER because they may not make it through the day?
There's basically two questions.
Yep. Yeah. So when you go like, to severity of things, that's what I ask myself, because it is hard. And especially with our community, there's people that prefer specific hospitals and, locations. And unfortunately, a lot of our community also doesn't have the means to get anywhere but Jackson County.
Right.
So you have to take that into consideration, and transportation. And a lot of people, don't have the funds to, even if they did go to the ER and then they get this bill, they're like, I don't want to do that. So it's hard. And that's why,
are you primarily here in Jackson?
Yeah. Okay, so I used to like float around. I worked Western Avenue, Waverly. I worked Circleville. We do have a new location on Bridge Street.
Okay.
I've not been there, but it's beautiful. It's very nice. But now
I haven't seen that. Where's that
at? By Tractors. No, what's that? Behind Texas Roadhouse. What's back there?
Used to be Kmart.
Yeah.
There's some Menards is back there, and
I
haven't seen that. Man,
it's right behind Texas Roadhouse.
What are they doing there?
Same thing. It's an urgent care.
Okay. Just like, is that what Jackson's considered? Jackson's an urgent care.
Urgent care. Yep. But yeah, I'm primarily at Jackson now, which I love. It's
that makes it easy.
7 minutes from my house. I'm like, it's perfect. So
when do you think hospitals or like urgent cares like that will get to like an a la carte? Like ever?
Probably not, because it's more complicated than that. Like you like to treat your gout. If you were to have kidney issues, I probably wouldn't give you meloxicam, because it's an NSAID, and NSAIDs metabolize through the kidney. So that's not good for your kidney because it's not working. So it just builds up in there. Okay. So it's a lot deeper than that. It's a lot of puzzle problem solving.
But like, I guess whenever I say a la carte, I mean like, okay, so you bring the person in and you say, okay, so today, Mr. Patient 1, we're going to have, you're going to do blood work. You're going to do x-ray, and that's it. Here's going to be your cost on today. We're going to submit that to the insurance. And depending on where you are with your deductible, you'll be responsible to pay this. If you've already met your deductible, you'll pay this. Like, it seems like you just like, it's like once you go to those, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, once you go to a doctor, it's like the release of medical
Things
bills.
build up.
And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't even remember what any of that stuff is. Not that this hasn't happened on that particular thing, but it's like, when will that ever happen? Like, do you think that hospitals will get to the point where it's like going to McDonald's and being like, hey, I want a hamburger. It's like, hey, I want blood tests and an x-ray today, and then you guys tell me if I have the gout.
I think, no, that's what primary care is for.
Okay.
So in a perfect world, you could call primary care and be like, hey, I think I have gout. Can you put in uric acid level and then call me when it results, and then we can problem solve over the phone, kind of thing. That does happen sometimes, but primary care is so overwhelmed. I mean, some of the physicians at Adena and Jackson Primary, they have like 2,000 to 3,000 patients.
Yeah, you can't get in for quite a long time.
And it's like, a good provider, you're going to have trouble getting into because they're a good provider.
Like, do you find that more and more people are coming to urgent care as their primary care?
100%. I mean, they'll come in for like Well, I mean, they'll come in for like high blood pressure because they can't get into primary care, and it's no one's fault.
And they're about ready to run out of their prescription or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing. We don't do refills in urgent care, and it's not because we don't want to, but it's all about reimbursement. And we don't get reimbursed for that. So if we're providing a service,
your service is the urgency of the care, not
your blood pressure pill that
you'll diagnose high blood pressure, but you're not going to refill.
Yeah. And a lot of stuff like that, like we do have a lot of people that come in for like anxiety and depression. Those medications need monitored because the adverse effects
are deadly.
Like, suicidal ideation, that's a thing. Yeah. So I just can't willy-nilly give out Lexapro to somebody and then be like, see ya, hope you feel better.
Because really urgent care isn't designed for you to see them repeatedly.
For treatment.
Like that. No,
it's for management, I guess.
That is what it's turning into, though. We have a lot of patients that come in with like wounds who are diabetics. That takes more time for them to heal. So then they come back in like 14 days and they're like, yeah, this just isn't getting better. And, you do want to ask, like, have you called your primary care? Because sometimes they'll say yes, and they'll say this is what they did. And I need to know that as their provider because I don't want to double dose something or, anything like that. But also, sometimes they don't because they're like, yeah, I called, but I can't get in for 6 weeks or,
Well, but like the urgent care system isn't really designed to like when you release a patient with their prescriptions and stuff.
They should
it's really not. Yeah, it's really not designed for you to be like, all right, I need to see you back in 20 days. Right?
And that's why we don't do labs either because we don't get them back immediately. It's going to be 2 days before we get that back. And in an urgent situation, I can't help you. Yeah, exactly. So it stinks because you do want to do more, but you can only do what you're capable of doing.
Well, that might be just more of a in-house thing too, because I know you can go to some urgent care centers and they're wanting to be your basically primary physician. That's what they want to be. Where in a hospital setting, rather than like a mom and pop boutique shop, it's they've had that process in place. They've got a team of people, and I mean,
and regulations are different, and billing is different, and I feel like are probably some things that you can finagle in like a mom and pop kind of place versus,
well,
play the insurance game.
And one of the things that I think is a real issue for hospitals, not only in this area, but in all areas, is with the state of people and their insurance and stuff, they're using the ER as their primary and their urgent or whatever.
Well,
so like if you actually have an emergency and you're going into an ER, man, I mean, you might have to wait 4 or 5 hours. I mean, because you got somebody over there with strep throat and it's like, come on, dude.
And a lot of the things like a CAT scan or an ultrasound, if it's not emergent, it's got to go through insurance. It's got to be approved. Then you have to be scheduled. That's like 4, 5, 7 days sometimes.
All to get prior authorization and all that stuff. Absolutely.
I think the biggest breakdown is just the people not knowing how to do all that.
Right. They don't.
It's. I mean, there is a process,
and it seems to me as though the needle moves all the time. Hey, Chubbies, how many points do you have on the McDonald's app? We all know and love the McDonald's app. And we want to thank Brad and Sarah Munn for being a great sponsor of our show and of our communities here in Jackson, Oak Hill, Wellston, and MacArthur. McDonald's. Check them out. There are some really good. I mean, the insurance system has been forced to put out some actual pretty good products to take care of this huge gap with high deductible to where they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like good, indemnity plans. There's some things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, essentially, man, with those HSAs and stuff, you're assuming more of the risk as a consumer. They just put in the nice little tag there that you can write that money off too.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you can write it off as you can. It's
pre-tax.
Pre-tax.
Yeah. Not write it off. It's pre-tax. It counts against your income.
Yeah. And you can roll it into a Roth, I believe.
At the end.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some nice features to all those policies. It's just, I wish that you would just know going in, like, there's nothing, what do you mean that blood work was $2,000?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
it's like, I wish there was something
like an itemized, like you're getting this is how much it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
But then, that makes people decide their own health care.
Oh, I know. And you really don't want to think about that.
So then you're like,
right.
You didn't get your A1C last year, but now it's 14,
Right.
And we could have addressed that. And now you're in kidney failure because you have out of control diabetes.
But I mean, how do you feel about that? You're a nurse practitioner, so how do you feel? I mean, do you think that person should have that right?
Yeah.
I kind of do too.
I do. I think they should have that right. It's your body. It's your health. It's just like you want to take medicine or you don't. You want to see somebody or you don't. That's also my thing. When I tell someone I recommend that you go to the ER because I'm concerned for XYZ.
Right.
I tell them, I can't make you. You don't have to go. I'm just letting you know what could happen if you take the risk and go home.
Right.
And I don't argue with them because it's
well,
not
you really
fair.
can't. Yeah.
No.
But the thing I think that is, and I'm not getting on a like political statement here, but like
here it goes.
What I don't.
This is a big clip.
No,
Democrat or Republican, Chad?
What I don't like is I don't think I think that it would be a scary number to think how many people don't go get proper care because they're concerned with the cost.
I mean, I even do that sometimes.
Well, okay, but on the flip side, how many people get way too much care after they hit their deductible that they don't even need? That's the problem.
It's a chicken and egg thing, man. Yes. I mean, the reason we're there is because of that. Like we're expecting that everybody will just be responsible. That's not the case.
That's too much.
Friday, I was in another one of those workshops up there for my CEs, and it was about Social Security and Medicare. Okay, and the Medicare system is the richest healthcare system. I mean, you talk about a plan that is just built for success.
Yes.
Not whenever I say that for the customer. I mean, if you're 65, get on Medicare.
Well, and then they've got all the supplementals and stuff on that you can buy.
The Medicare Advantage plans, that's cheap. It's good coverage. You have loaded. I mean, so to put it in what's your wife's deductible and Mindy's $7,500?
I think so.
Yeah. Their deductible is $250. 286 or 246.
Well, it's designed for people that are on fixed income.
So they are automatically they're 65.
Sure.
Okay, they're older.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have a lower deductible. So what do you think is going to happen with that?
They're going to use it.
They're going to use it.
Yeah.
And then now you're down here with people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s in their working years, and they've got these crazy high deductibles, and it's that they're scared to death to go get preventative care because of the cost.
Right.
And then by the time they're 65, they're so unhealthy, and then it just keeps skyrocketing this cost.
It just unravels.
Well, and the expense trickles down.
Yes.
I mean, then we're paying a lot more.
Right.
Yeah.
And our benefits are a lot less. People say the same things about Social Security right now.
Yeah.
It's essentially us funding the people that are retired now. And it's like, is that system eventually going to break when I'm,
it always has been. Wasn't that what it's set up to do though?
Well, yeah, but like they have to keep raising the age.
Yeah.
Because the contributions aren't as high. There are a lot of people aren't.
Too many people sucking out. Yeah, too many people draining the well, not enough people putting in.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I mean, so it's kind of like, well, there's always that myth that it's going to be gone, and maybe it will be. I don't know, but it's like,
well, as long as it's got something in there by Friday, I don't care.
Hey, yeah, that's right.
It doesn't need to be rich.
No,
that just needs to be a cash flow system.
Right. I mean, most of us aren't coming up in a world where they have like, we're not counting on Social Security as our main form of retirement. No. You know what I mean? Like everybody now has 401ks and stuff like that. And you don't see as much directed pensions or, I mean, Social Security is just a small piece to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like working like this? Do you like working in the medical field? I mean, is that what are you going to stay in the medical field? I mean, you guys are pretty young.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard because I get home some days and I'm like, I love my job. I help so many people. I touch so many people and I feel good about it. But then I get home and sometimes, regardless of the situation you're in, life's rough.
Yeah.
You try and please people, and unfortunately healthcare has turned into give me what I want, because I said, and it takes my 6 years of schooling and puts it in someone's lap that doesn't have an education. Not that that's bad or, anything like that. But like I'm specialized in this. This is what I do. Right. And then you're going to come in and tell me you need an antibiotic because you had a runny nose for 2 hours. Yeah. And then everything's all about like your scores. So like everyone gets surveys and it's like, well, how did Emily do today? Well, she didn't give me an antibiotic, so I give her a 0. And it's like, okay, well, and then I try and educate people like, my guidelines say actually that acute sinusitis that's bacterial I'm not supposed to treat it for 5 to 7 or 7 to 10 days. And most people are like, yeah, I've just been real stuffy for like 5 days. And it's like,
your body fighting it off, right?
Yeah. Come back in a week. Go get some Dristan, pal.
A lot of them are viral. Like people don't know that a lot of sinus infections are viral too. So it's like you've been around and some people don't connect the dots. So I always ask like, well, have you been around anybody sick?
Right.
And they're like, well, my kids, they've been having a runny nose. So then it's like red flag. You're sharing it, you're sharing everything. Can that go into bacterial sinusitis? Yeah, it can. That's fine. I'm not saying that it can't, but you don't get to decide
how it's treated.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a fine line for me because, and I don't ever want to argue with a patient or make them.
Their favorite doctor's the one that gives them everything that they want.
Yep. And a lot of the time, I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying this, but a lot of the time it's like, well, my primary care will give me an antibiotic if I just call him. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but I don't practice like that. I want,
call them.
I don't want to be that kind of provider. I'll give you symptomatic management. I want you to feel better. I know having a stuffy nose and trying to sleep is rough.
Oh yeah.
But I want to be a good provider.
And that's got to get frustrating.
It does.
Yeah. You're there to do a job. Like you said, there's probably days you feel like, man, I saved the world today.
Yeah.
And then there's other days where you're like, oh, man, gee whiz.
That day did I see you on a Monday?
I can't remember. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That day I saw 60 patients by myself.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was a Monday.
Yeah.
That was a week ago today.
Yeah. And, you come home and like, I'm just exhausted. And Jesse's like, what's wrong? You're not saying anything. And I'm like, I've entertained people all day. Like,
you say, I had Pudge. Jesse, Pudge had the gout. And he was in my room for an hour telling me all these blues. Man.
No, but I mean, I do. I want to do a good job. And I think when people hear no, they're like, well, she doesn't want to help me. And it's like, well, I didn't get into this not to help you.
Yeah. I was,
you are helping them, because if they don't need antibiotics, they shouldn't be taking them.
Well, and that's the other thing too that I do try and explain, but they don't care, is like antibiotic resistance is high. You don't want to take Augmentin 12 times a year, and then when you do need it for your bacterial pneumonia, it doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
And then you go on to like...
You explained that part with me very well, because I had been having the same shots every week for the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I'm not going to give that to you because it's not...
I don't want to hurt you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it comes down to. I don't want to hurt you. You think I'm hurting you by not giving you something, and it's the total opposite.
Yeah.
And
we had, you explained that pretty well. I mean, that was one thing I went home and told my wife. I was like, hey, I went a different route. You were my third stop that day.
Really?
Yeah. And it wasn't that I wasn't getting anywhere.
Yeah.
It was that it was time to take it up a notch. It was like, okay, I've been doing this.
This isn't working.
This isn't working. Yeah.
We need different eyes on this.
Yeah. And so I decided to go just maybe a little bit more, what I want to say, diverse group that would have had more options.
Sure.
And it was now like what you did for me probably didn't take hold as quick, but I feel like now it's taken hold.
Yeah.
And
that's, long term, that's what we want, because when it starts to affect your daily life, like you can't function, you can't do what you want to do every single day, like that's an issue.
Well, and you went in, going back full circle, you went in and you called your doctor, Dr. Black, I believe, and he got on the phone with you and told you what to tell me about this. And it was like, oh, finally, somebody that understands.
Yeah, and it is like another just set of eyes, another opinion, and then, your uric acid was fine too, so that's why I was
weird.
like,
so weird.
But come to find out, you losing all that weight and stuff just threw you into a spiral.
Hey guys, huge thanks out there to everybody down at Geiger Brothers Construction. Those guys as a whole unit have just been wonderful for the Chubbies. We appreciate each and every one of you hardworking people out there that listens to us, and thank you, Geiger Brothers Construction, for all your project needs. Give those guys a call, 740-286-0800. Yep.
You want to help yourself, but
I know. Hey, I'm telling you, I'm much happier fat. I'm much happier.
That's just your body telling you something, man. Put them back on.
So do you think you'll ever maybe go into a route? So Emily is also what is your official sport?
Bodybuilding. I do bikini bodybuilding.
Bikini bodybuilding. Okay. So what is bikini bodybuilding?
So bodybuilding is like an umbrella over different classes of bodybuilding. So there's bikini, there's wellness, there's figure, there's physique.
Mass, where would mass be?
More so like the physique is going to be like
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, the big, Bikini is more like you have definition, you have soft lines, in regards to like your delts and your glutes and stuff like that. But, as you go up the tier, it's like bikini, wellness, figure, physique.
What would wellness be?
Wellness is like really big quads.
Athletic.
Yeah. I mean, you still have, so bikini, they call it like an X frame. So you want a very tiny waist, big delts, big glutes. Wellness, you still want good delts, smaller waist, but your glutes and your quads kind of take over. So
how long have you been training for this?
So I actually started out like just counting macros. It'll be 3 years this July.
Oh, my, okay.
And I got into that. I lost about 15 pounds.
So counting macros, just to let people know, you were counting basically your. Were you doing like the percentages of your diet, like 20% protein, 20% carbs?
No, I was doing
grams?
Specific grams. Yeah, numbers.
And then trying to hit a daily amount of those. So what would that be? Give me an example.
So when I first started, I weighed 135 pounds, and my cutting macros were about 1550-ish. 1550.
Oh, 1550.
Calories.
Okay, 1550. Okay.
And then my protein was about at 130. I can't remember my carbs and fats specifically, just because protein That was a long time ago too.
That's hard to do.
When you started that, were you just looking to lose weight, or you like, I'm going to do this bodybuilding thing?
No, I was just looking to lose weight. I had just got out of grad school, and I was like, you sit and you study for 12 hours, and to keep yourself going, you just eat and eat and eat. Yeah. And I didn't move.
Chad and I don't know anything about
this. I never experienced that.
Yes. Yeah. We don't know what it's like to eventually eat.
I love to eat. Like, I'm an eater. I eat more than Jesse. I'm always like, you hungry? And he's like, we literally just ate. I'm like, I know, but are you hungry yet? But so I did that, and I lost like 15 pounds. And then a local girl from Jackson had messaged me on Facebook, actually. And she was like, have you ever thought about competing? And I was like, competing in what? And she was like, you'd be a perfect bikini athlete. So I looked into it a little bit, and the coach I had at the time, she was like, well, I've never done that before, but if you want to do it, we can try it. And I like fully trusted her. She'd never done it. I'd never done it. So we just get through it together. So my first 2 shows were this past fall. I did one in September and one in October. The one in September was my first show, and I got a first, and a third.
Wow.
Yeah.
On your debut?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And then my second show, it was a lot bigger. There were like 180 some like participants, including men. But I think I got a second and a third in that show. And so it breaks down in like true novice, which means you've never competed before. Okay. Novice, which means you've never won an overall. Okay. And then you have an open class.
Which is
you're open.
Pros.
Anybody can do the open, but it's broken down by your height. So, so like when you go in to check in, they measure you.
You're pretty tall.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 5'7", but when I went there, I was like 5'6" or something like that. But it doesn't, it's like 5'6" to 5'7" or whatever.
Okay.
So then they put you in that class, and then when the show starts, it's open A, open B, open C by height. A lot of participants are short, like 5'4"-ish.
Oh, okay.
It's not rare to see a taller person, but to see a taller person, you're like, oh, you're tall, you're competing.
Okay.
But now I'm in like a building phase, so a lot of people are like, are you still doing that bodybuilding thing? And it's like, well, prep is hard. Mm-hmm. Like when I was in prep, your calories decrease over, 20, 16, 12 weeks, just depending on when you start prep.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, so if you're getting ready for a competition.
Yeah, like how long before the show?
Yeah, so when do you get in go mode, no turning back?
So my first prep was 12 weeks, which I was very lean then.
So your first show's in September. Mm-hmm. So you're starting in June. I
started in July because Jesse and I and some friends, we went on like a 2-week cross road trip. So when we got back, I started. And I dropped weight very quickly. My calories stayed pretty decent throughout it up until what's called peak week, which is, if your competition's Saturday, that Sunday you start to like carb cycle, fill back your muscles because it's just everything's depleted.
You're tricking your body.
Yeah, that way when you do up your carbs, it goes straight into that muscle and fills it out, and that's what you want for show day. So my first prep was about 12 weeks, and then my second show was like 2 weeks after that. So I just kept on, with what I was doing. I had like a week of higher food, and then that peak week we adjusted. But, it's working out I think my last 4 weeks I worked out 6 days a week, but you do fasted cardio too. And sometimes that's 30.
What's fasted cardio?
So like when you wake up in the morning before you eat anything, you'll do your cardio. And for everybody, it's different. Like I said, I dropped weight very well. So my cardio was like 30 minutes before my workout, and then I could eat and then do my workout. But I know girls that have 90 minutes of fasted cardio. And if you have a job And yeah, and you have to, if you're a nurse and you have to be at work at 7 and you have an hour and a half of fasted cardio and you have to train, you're getting up at 3:30.
Oh my
Easy.
goodness. You're not sleeping.
Easy. Yep. So that was kind of that with my first show. Well, my first and second show, after you compete, you're supposed to reverse diet because your calories are so low for so long. I mean, my maintenance calories are like 2,000 to 2,100. And then when you go down to like 1,100 calories, your body's like, what's happening? So in order to not gain fat back super quickly, you reverse diet. So you may be at like 1,100 calories, and then the next week you bump up your carbs because your protein normally stays high. Okay. That keeps you full. That keeps you from losing muscle mass. So your carbs and your fats do bump up progressively over that time until you're back at maintenance. Or most of the time, most bodybuilders, after they compete, 3 shows is a lot to compete in for a season. Yeah. Just the prep time and what it does to your body.
Like 3 fights.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. You're just like worn out and you're craving nutrition and food and
rest.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're tired all the time. So, so I was, I was new into the sport, but I knew that you were supposed to reverse diet. And the coach that I had at the time, again, she was new, I was new, but I had done some research and I knew like, okay, I should be reverse dieting and I'm not. And that scared me because, I weighed 108 pounds on stage and I didn't want to weigh 120 pounds next weekend. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's
You've
not,
done all that work.
Yeah, you work pretty hard.
And it's not good for you,
You'll get the gout.
Maybe.
Fluctuating like that.
I'll be something. But like, and your diet is so strict, so it's a lot of fish, a lot of rice, a lot of like asparagus.
Where'd you get your diets?
So with macros, you can really incorporate anything you want as long as it fits.
Yeah.
However, like peak week and the week before that, you want like very low inflammatory foods. So like it's really fish, rice, and like asparagus because it causes like less bloat.
Hey, Chubbies, when was the last time you had somebody take a look at your life insurance? It's something that nobody likes to talk about. But one thing I know about Pudge is he's coming to your funeral. You might as well have him show up with a check and take care of those loved ones. That's the time when they need it the most. He's writing it every day. Come have that conversation with him and get it done. And by the way, if you own a business and you haven't let Pudge quote your commercial insurance, you're making a mistake. Let him check it out. Make sure you got proper coverage for the best value on the market. Gillum Insurance for all your insurance needs. 740-395-0190.
So
is inflammation bloat?
It just depends. Bloating isn't normal. People are like, yeah, I'm just so bloated. True bloating is painful. It hurts. You don't feel good. It's not just like, man, I ate too many pieces of cake.
What's that?
Stuffed.
Overeating.
Overeating.
Foddered.
Yeah, misery. I don't know.
I can tell you exactly how it feels.
Too many trips to the buffet.
Over and over and over.
No, I know. And that was the thing. So like my coach at the time, she was like, I just want you to take the week after your show and just like eat what you want. And I'm like, that is dangerous for me because I like to eat too much. Right. And I knew that it wasn't right, but I also trusted her because, you know, she's been my girl for like a year and I knew she wouldn't do anything intentionally.
Sure.
Yeah. So I, that first week was not good and it led to binging for a very long time. And so like I woke up one day and I was like, I don't want to feel like this. I can't function. I can't.
Yeah.
Just everything. I felt terrible. So I took like a transition, and I got a new coach, and I adore her. That's who actually Paisley and I are going to Tampa Sunday, and we're going down to see her and like train with her for like a session. And then of course
Paisley gonna do this?
No, she's just going with me.
Okay.
We're just gonna have a little girls trip.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but you know, she's a IFBB pro, which is a bodybuilding pro. She does bikini. She is an Olympian, which the Olympia is like the Super Bowl of bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
So she did that this year, and she just has had tremendous, I don't know, everything really. She's done really well. And so the first time that I talked to her on the phone, she was very like transparent with me. I'm very controlling. I like to be in control, and I'm very type A, like you know, XYZ, this is how I want it done. No veering off plan. And she's like that too, except more. And I feel like I need that, because if not, I'm going to overpower.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I
and
need
lose,
her.
She would lose credibility.
Yeah. So I was like, I need someone that's going to put me in my place, that's going to tell me to like suck it up or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So I've been with her since the end of October.
Okay.
We've been in like maybe a little bit after that, but we've been in like a building phase since then. So trying to put muscle on. I don't have like a show date planned yet. I'm
Whenever
just
you're
kind
ready.
of, trusting her.
Yeah.
She's telling me what to, she's not telling me what to eat. She's telling me how much to eat, the workouts to do. And then when she says I'm ready, then we'll pull the trigger.
Look for one.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So, and that's the other good thing too. My previous coach was from Canada. So for her to like, to me, it was really important. Like, I want my coach at my show, because before you go out on stage, you do what's called like a pump up.
Yeah.
And because your body is pretty depleted of glycogen and, all those things, you do like a pump up meal. Most people do like Reese's because it's got the fats and the carbs and, all those things. I want someone there to be like, you look too flat. You need to eat this, whatever, before you go on stage. And with my previous coach, she was in Canada, she couldn't come here. But Jordan does. She comes to every show that I will participate in. Okay. She does like backstage. You have to have like a specific backstage pass. She purchases that.
Chubby's, hey, we all know this guy. All the folks over at AP Prep, we cannot thank you enough. Look those guys up at apprep.info. We get asked all the time, hey, what happens? How do you get over there? Hey, that's how you do it. You get on apprep.info. You look them up. You set a time for your kid's assessment. They schedule a time. You bring your kid over there. Boom, it's done. They get you right in the schedule. And, hey, for all you adults, you just show up on Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday night at 5:30, and they got their boxing classes. It's $10, or you can join by the month. So look them up at apprep.info.
So that was really important to me.
Not about your coach, but like, let's say a guy that's listening to the show wanted to, like, let's say his wife was intrigued by this and they wanted to get with a coach. What kind of cost?
Bodybuilding is very expensive.
Yeah. Between supplements,
your supplements, your food, because
gym,
how expensive healthy food is.
Oh yeah.
It's no more expensive really than going out to eat though. Food's food.
Yeah. Going out to eat, I would say like buying a Totino's is like way easier than
buying ramen noodles is cheaper than
Jesse's
buying.
I want all the Totino's.
Yeah.
And that did change our life a lot, because before I started this, we ate out probably 4 times a week.
Sure.
And we enjoyed it. Like, that was our thing. And I'm a foodie. So, like, I want to try new places, new things. Sure. I want the full experience. So that changed a lot for us, because I get, right now, in my building phase, I get 1 free meal a week, but I still have to prioritize protein, veggies, stuff like that. You can't just go
crazy.
No. So that did change our life a lot. But coaching, depending on
entry level. somebody to bring you out a diet, an exercise program, and maybe talk to you once a week?
It depends on the experience of your coach. So my coach is with a team called Fit Body Fusion. They charge like a fee, and then she gets like a percentage, I'm guessing, of that.
Okay. So you pay the group.
I pay the group, yep, and that's my food, my training. If I do a show, she's there.
That's your food list.
Yeah.
Not the food.
No.
Trainings, that's her coming to the thing.
Mm-hmm. Her plane ticket, stuff like that. It's expensive.
$1,000 a month?
No, I pay $350 a month.
Oh,
for
okay.
And my previous coach was maybe $200. Okay. But again, that wasn't with bodybuilding experience.
Right.
Plus, I also feel like I want the best. My goal is to be an IFBB pro one day, so I'm going to invest in it.
Sure.
Then you have to buy your suit. He's at least $600.
Wow. You're not just going to Victoria's
So this
Secret
is not just a regular bathing suit bikini.
It's custom.
Can we put you in a
made for
Chubby
you.
Chasers? We have a bikini line on our
Yeah.
Can we put you in that for your next show?
Yeah.
That'd be great. We'll put you.
Yeah.
You can be our Chubby Chaser model.
Just take one picture in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So you got your suit. Entry into competitions is normally about $125 to $150, and then you have to pay for every class that you're in.
Yeah.
So then it's like $120 for novice, $120 for open, $120 for true novice, and then you've got to pay for your spray tan, which is about.
Do they run simultaneously whenever you show like that? Are you competing one time for all three of those?
No, you have to go back on stage every time. Yeah. But if you go on stage for novice, you do your full posing routine, and then when you go back on stage for your open, you just do a front pose and an S pose, and then you go off to the side. But your spray tan's $120. You have to get your hair and makeup done, which is
could be whatever.
$150 to $300. And some people do their tan and their makeup and hair by themselves, but if you're going to do it, you need to know how to do it.
Yeah. Right.
And as a first-time competitor, you don't want that stress.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay for your hotel. So
get there.
Yep, there's that. And my coach, so if the show's on a Saturday, depending on where it's at, because if you have to fly, your body changes a lot through flight.
Just the pressures.
Yeah. And then, so she wants you there on Thursday. Then, so you've got Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night to pay for a hotel. And then you pay to get in. It's like $50. And so, like, there's a prejudging in the morning and then finals in the evening. Each prejudging and finals is like anywhere from like $35 to $50 a piece per
to get in the door.
And that's for like, my mom and my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's expensive too, because you hate to put that burden on someone. Like, you want them to come. You worked so hard for the last 16 weeks, but
don't want them to have to pay $500.
They're going to have to take out a loan. Jeez.
Just come watch you. Yeah. Ain't $8 for a ball game.
Yeah.
So it's a very expensive sport. Now, like, your suit you can rewear for the season, but the goal obviously is to grow for the next season. So chances are it probably isn't going to fit you. It shouldn't if you've grown.
And there might be a used market though. I mean,
you can sell your previous suits. Stuff. Yeah, but it's very expensive. Your shoes, you have to buy shoes too. Those are like
how long do you think you're going to go for all this as long as you can?
My goal is to be an IFBB pro. So until that, at least.
Well, I hope that you'll come back on when you're going to a show.
Yeah.
Or after the show and tell us all about it.
Yeah.
Because that's really cool.
What I want to see you do is get Paisley into this.
Oh my gosh, she would die.
She might surprise you.
She might
go savage on you.
She's so determined.
She is. Yes.
I don't have any doubt that she could do it, because she shows up for me.
Yeah.
So I know for her, even to show up for herself, she would totally do it. But she has been one of like my biggest supporters. Her and Josh came to my first show. They were there
cheering
through all of it. Yeah, we went out to eat after. She hasn't left my side since then. So
That's awesome.
And she would have came to my second show, but she went and got married. So
Yeah.
she got married on that day.
Excuses.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it. But
So you don't know when the next show will be, though?
no, I'm not sure. I'm just kind of going through and building right now.
You ever see yourself doing any coaching?
I do personal training now.
Oh, okay.
But probably not coaching, just because to focus on yourself is a lot, and then to have the stress of like other people.
Yeah, you're doing that during the day. This is your release.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So, you know, I like having it for me.
Yeah.
But I do personal training. I have like 15 to 20 clients, and I do macro coaching.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's enough.
Okay.
And I really did it to like get just something else from healthcare, because this was like during COVID too, at the end of COVID, and I was like, I need something else.
Yeah.
So I started it then, and it's just built really well for me. So
That's cool.
yeah,
It's awesome, man.
yeah, I like it.
You gonna come back and see us?
Yeah.
All right. We want to know how you do.
Yeah.
And whenever
that'll
you
be
chase
good.
this, what is it? EFBB?
IFBB.
International Federation of Bikini Bodybuilders. Is that it?
Bodybuilding. Yeah.
Bodybuilding?
All
Yeah.
right.
See, bam, I got that. All right.
We got it down.
We got anything else, bud?
No. Hey, thanks for
That's
joining
fun.
us.
That's
That
fun.
was
Thanks
awesome.
for
Yeah, it's a
having
fun
me.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming in on short notice, too.
That's
But
okay.
this is AKA the Gout Whisperer.
Yeah.
The
well,
Gout
here I
Whisperer,
am.
don't forget it.
Yeah. Well, there'll be people lined up to see
All
you.
your gouty needs.
All your gouty needs, yes. So, Emily, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Hey, Chubbies, look us up. Got things happening like we talked about.
Subscribe.
Yep.
All that.
All that good stuff.
Yeah.
Got anything coming up this week?
We're just doing baseball, buddy.
Baseball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chad and I are
Yeah.
we're deep into baseball.
Oh my
season.
goodness. Yeah, we're having to shoot these pods late at night, dude.
Yeah. So, hey, see you, Chubbies.
See ya.